Hey, how's it going? This video I'm gonna talk about gaslighting and what that is. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which one person seeks to make another person question their reality, perspectives, or sanity. Most of the time, that's just part of the relationships and communication, the way, or perhaps what kind of things you would let into your life or overall communications with other people in. So sometimes, if you are looking to connect with another person and the way how that another person, or whatever case might be, right, would think it's acceptable in a way of communication. You know, if anything, I would like to bring more attention to other people who, those are most of the people out there just doing what they're doing, right? So they just focus on their own stuff. But there are some people who this is what they are trying to do, just something perhaps worth mentioning and be aware of. It's often used as a tactic to gain power and control over someone and can occur in various settings, including personal relationships, workplace environments, and even political context. So that's potentially gonna happen. It's just anything. It just you need to understand what that person is doing. You don't necessarily need to address it even better if that person is just part of the toolkit, and that person, this is how that person thinks it's okay to communicate with others. Myself, I just acknowledge that some people out there, this is the way how they're communicating, and I'm just trying to stay away from those people if possible. If it's work environment, it's perhaps a little bit worse. The term gaslighting originated from 1944 movie Gaslight, in which husband manipulates his wife into believing she is going insane by dimming the gas lights in their home and denying that anything has changed. Oh, okay, right. So it can go both ways, right? So perhaps when it comes to relationships and communication overall. So this is the part of the dynamics. So what kind of people, interpersonal relationships, and what kind of people would be up there. Well, most I never dealt with that coming from the masculine side. So most of the time when I'm communicating, women do that all the time. So that's my personal experience. I never dealt with the people outside of different sex, I guess, who communicated to me in that kind of way. If a man presents him in this particular way, so how long would you be able to communicate with that person in the first place? But either way, it goes both ways. If anything, this kind of communication goes both ways. Gaslighting techniques typically involved, I don't know, if people just making like having fun, that's completely different, or trying to control. So when people are trying to have fun, I mean, I can understand this part, but if, if someone is looking for particular things in life and someone wants to fulfill that gap by having fun, perhaps that's something that has to do with it, but it comes from a good place, I guess. Denying the gaslight and denies the victim's experience, feelings, or perceptions. Even then, evidence supports them. So it starts with denying. Trivializing. The gaslighting belittles the victim's concerns and emotions, making them feel their reactions are irrational or unwarranted. So, again, that's again psychological things, but I guess it can go both ways. Most of the time, you just I guess it's just setting personal boundaries. If anything, that works for every single time. If you set strong personal boundaries, you're not. If you start discussing and you're trying to open up to someone, this is what might happen. It's just a matter of time, I guess. Projection. Gaslighters often project their own negative qualities, actions, or motives onto the victim, causing the victim to doubt themselves. Uh, yeah, I guess if denying, that could be a joke, right? And we are progressing through different stages, so perhaps that's too much for a joke. So if anything, withholding. Gaslighters may withhold information or affection as a means of control, causing the victim to feel uncertain and anxious. Shifting blame, the gaslighter deflects responsibilities of their actions by blaming the victim, further eroding the victim's self-confidence. So I guess that someone have done a study or so, or that's from a movie and history overall. But overall, it's an interesting topic. I might be interested in covering different psychological manipulations and how, if anything, people are just being people. If you let people to do crazy things, this is why they can come down to it. So something like psychological manipulations, and the way how some people communicate up there. If once you acknowledge that that can happen, and you can potentially label that person that this is something that that person does from time to time, you can understand more of the way how people can be out there, not necessarily letting those people in your life. Perhaps gaslighting is some of those problems that you yourself haven't dealt with or have recognized in others. It's just depending on how much time you spend yourself communicating and working with the people, but usually the truth would come out just a matter of time, unless it's just denying, I guess, and having silly jokes. There's a thing going on, but other than that, perhaps all the other stages is way too much, I guess. When it comes to depending on the setting, right? If it's your best friend, perhaps you can mess around with your best friend for a little bit. It might be a fun experience, but other than that, I'm not supporting any of those activities. It's not the reason why I'm sharing this information with any people out there. If anything, you need to recognize what people can be like, and try to understand that some of the people out there not necessarily there to hear what you have to say or support you or help you. If anything, every time when you're sharing some information with some people out there, they are there to later on teach you a lesson. I guess if anything, you can learn something. So that would be some takeaways from any of the points that I mentioned. That would be perhaps denying, trivializing, or projection, withholding, shifting blame. It just perhaps it just some of the things that people can do out there. For people out there who are interested in learning more, I have published a course. Within this course, I'm sharing a lot of information with the people who are interested in learning more. I have completed a course for people who like to learn more, is in particular, but I have defined some areas within the course where you can understand fundamentals, what will be required for you to become highly productive and effective individual. That would be perhaps time management skills. So some of the, just to mention, I have defined 12 different areas, which I personally believe is very important for all the people out there to become very productive and effective when it comes to managing your own time, understanding what will be required from you down the line later on in life to for you to become successful. I have published this course in a number of different formats. If you are interested, feel free to reach out to me. We can discuss that before you making purchase decision. If you have any questions or anything, you can find all information in the description as well as on my company's website. If I were to share any examples, it might be interesting for people watching. But either way, so if even if a person is telling you where to look, what to say, where to go, what to do, all of that is a part of manipulation. One people is trying to control another. It is sometimes things that one person would say, what you need to do would not necessarily make sense. So just common sense, I guess, and setting those boundaries, how you're communicating. And then you're progressing into, I don't know, from school perhaps, where there's some extent for people out there within a school. Most of the people just sort of try to have fun and learn perhaps one or two things right in school. Progressing into career where people cut short people, there might be some people out there who are trying to find something on you, manipulate you, you perhaps real world experience what you can find up there. So it could, I don't know. So I've been there, done it. So you, if anything, you need to do it for yourself to learn anything. But I don't know. I thought it might be interesting topic to share with people out there. I might come back to that. It just depends on the person, right? So some of those people are not necessarily there within the, if we're talking about work setting, but necessarily there to progress anywhere. They are there to perhaps to fulfill requirements, basic needs. The only reason why they are there and whatever drama they got stuck into And usually, the best way to deal with that just perhaps avoid those people if possible. All right. If anything, I'm gonna be sharing a lot of information about how to communicate with people, how to manage large groups of people, how to lead teams. So I'll rather focus on positive things, but it would be a shame to overgo without acknowledging some of the other tactics that people might possibly be using on you. Gaslighting can have severe emotional and psychological consequences for the victim, leading to feelings of confusion, self doubt, anxiety, and depression. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting is an essential step in addressing the manipulative behavior and seeking support to counter it effectively. If anything, the best place to recognize what's happening. Once you recognize it, then perhaps it will be easier for you to understand what's happening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one.